All right, so today we're learning about proportional relationships. And so far, we've learned about linear situations, which are straight lines. Yes? I need everybody to focus. Linear situations are what? Straight lines. Today we're learning about a very particular straight line called proportional. And it's actually very, very easy. Proportional is a straight line that passes through zero. So everybody look at this graph. Is this a straight line right here? Is it passing through zero? That is what makes it proportional. It's a straight line passing through zero. In the equation y equals mx plus b, they changed it to y equals kx. It's the same as mx. What's missing in this equation? The plus b. Why do you think it's missing? Because it passes through. So what is the y-intercept? 0. It always has a y-intercept of 0 if it's proportional. Did everybody hear me? It always has a what? Y-intercept of 0 if it's proportional. It always passes through 0. Easy or not? So if I gave you pictures of graphs, could you tell me if they're proportional just by looking at them? What would you look for? It has to be a straight line and it has to pass through 0. So write that right here. Has to be straight and pass through 0. No, because sometimes the graphs are not straight. So to be proportional.
Is that line straight on there?
Well, yeah, because that's an example of a straight line. To be proportional, it has to be a straight line and it has to pass through 0. So you should be able to look at any graph and tell me if it's proportional or not just by looking at it. In an equation, it has to have a number times x but no plus b. Yes? No plus b. So in an equation, what can it not have? Cannot have a plus b. It just has to have a rate. No y-intercept. Are y'all all good? So what would it be in proportional to be a table? The first requirement is if it includes 0, it better be 0 because that's passing through 0, yes? So if it has 0,
What if the 0 is at the end?
it must be 0, 0. It doesn't matter where it is in the table. As long as it's 0, 0.
What if there's only 1 0?
If there's only 1 0, it's not proportional. Now, if this was missing, it could still be proportional. If it shows 0. It doesn't have to show 0, but if it does, it must be what? Because that means it passes through 0. The other way to tell if it's proportional is to simply divide, write this down, y divided by x, and you must get a constant number every time. And I'm going to show you what that looks like. So what is 6 divided by 2? 3. What is 12 divided by 4? 3. What is 18 divided by 6? So do you see that when I divide a proportional table, when I divide y divided by x, I will always get a constant answer? Yes or no? Okay, so a non-proportional, you wouldn't get a constant answer. Okay, and then the last thing is in a word problem. How can you tell if something is proportional?
The per?
Yeah, you have to have the per, but no plus b, right? So if you write it, it has to look like this. Can I put kx because that's what they like to put? Sure, it doesn't matter. No. So what can it not have? No plus b. So how would I write this equation? Ben rents a hotel room for $85 per night. So why is this proportional? Because it doesn't have a plus B. It doesn't have a starting point. The starting point is 0. It doesn't have a one-time fee. So let's turn to the back and let's do some examples of how these look on your assignment. Everybody turn to the back. The first question says, which of these equations shows a proportional relationship? Well, what did we learn? To be proportional, it cannot have a plus B. So no plus B. Which one of these does not have a plus B? F. This has y equals the slope times x, yes? What about G? What was wrong with G? It has a plus B. What's wrong with H? It has plus 3 halves. What's wrong with J? It has minus 4. That's all a plus B. Okay, so it can only have a number times x. Good? All right, let's look at the tables. Which table shows a proportional relationship? Well, what did we say? If it has 0, it must be. So could I mark off this one?
Yes.
Because it does not have 0, 0. This one might be good, yes?
Yes.
And this one I don't know because it didn't give me the 0. So what would my next thing do to C? Divide y divided by x to see if you get a constant. All right, so here we go. Let's do this one. What is 5 divided by 1? 5. What is 10 divided by 2? Did I get a constant? So this one is proportional. Let's look at why this one's not. What would I do? Divide. What is 7 divided by 2? What's 7 divided by 2? 3.5. All right. What is 9 divided by 3? 3. What's 11 divided by 4?
2.75.
Did we get a constant when we divided? No. So this one is not proportional. Okay, so on a table, what's the requirements? Okay, so what have we learned about tables? If it has 0, it has to be 0, 0. And when you divide y divided by x, you must get a constant to be proportional. All right, let's go to the next example. Don't even read it. Based off what I've taught you, I need everybody's eyes on the board. Look at the answer choices. Which answer choices do you think you could just mark out? You didn't even read the question, but you're like, whoa, we've never done that. B and D. We don't even do x equals in my class, do we? All right. Now, these are in y equals mx plus b form, yes? So what have I taught you guys about a table? Where can I go? Go to stat. I'm telling you, the stat button can be used all the time. Hit stat. Now what? Edit. Delete everything. Type in your x's. Now what do I hit? Stat. Tab over to calc, option 4. Enter until you get the answer. So how would I write this equation? 12x plus 0. Y equals 12x. So what's the answer? Why is this proportional? Because it doesn't have a plus b. That's why this was asked on this assignment, because it was proportional. Are we good? Okay, the very last question, again, without reading it, look at the answer choices. Which two could you mark off because we've never done that? A and B. It says a car can travel 310 miles on 8 gallons of gas. Which equation best represents this linear relationship between x, what's it saying the x is? The gallon. So this is my x. And what's it saying the y is? The distance right there. So if I am given two numbers, y'all better listen because this is on your assignment, and they want you to write an equation, what did I teach you? To divide, what goes on top? Y divided by x. Well, the y is 310 and the x is 8. So you simply put that in your calculator. 310 divided by 8. Could I also use alpha y equals? So I could have done 310 over 8 and then math decimal enter. Did I get the same answer? So what is the rate? 38.75. Okay, I'm going to quickly review what we just learned. Today we learned how to identify if something is proportional. To be proportional in an equation, what can it not have? A plus b. To be proportional on a graph, what's the two requirements? Straight line passes through 0. To be proportional on a table, if it has 0, it has to be 0. And when I divide, I have to get a constant answer. And then lastly, in a situation, again, you would write the equation and it cannot have a. And the last thing was, if they give you two numbers and ask you to write an equation, you simply divide the two numbers. But the y has to go on top. So I don't get to pick which one goes on top. They told me which one was y and x, and I had to put the correct number on top. Good? All right. I'm going to give you the assignment. Just like every day, you'll do it on your own. Come check it with me one time, and then put your answers in the Google Classroom.